In this day and age, we do not research. We do not. Shout out to Bay. We don't research. Like, this is neurogum. I think it's bullshit. I ain't gonna lie, but because I still get tired off of it. But you know what? No promo. Now fuck it. It's bullshit. Actually, I'm not gonna say it's bullshit. I just think I need a higher dose because it doesn't have enough caffeine. Anyways, I think this is how much caffeine does it have? 40 milligrams. Get the higher dose. Anyways, I used to drink lattes and shit, so I guess. But anyways, these days we do not research. I swear. Even with the whole Cameron and T Banks thing. Okay, anyways, we're not even gonna talk about that. That's another video. But just with all of these things like the files coming out, all of this stuff going on in the world, we don't do enough research on our own. And we believe that we're doing something with these think pieces, all this extra stuff. However, we're not, because in reality, the higher ups that you guys are so afraid of know that we don't put enough time into actual research. We genuinely rely on the most credible sources that we feel are credible based on our own emotional state. For example, there are people you're watching, you're watching right now, who you go to for your latest tea, news, all this extra stuff. They could be completely lying, but because you formed an emotional connection to that person, you believe that they're a credible source. This whole influencer era made sure of that to happen. All these influencers created emotional bonds with their audience and was taught to do that by other people who blew up on these platforms. And now we look up to these people and put them on pedestals, and we created such a bond with them to where now we believe that they are credible sources, when each one of these people could easily be paid off. Each one of these people could be lying directly to our faces. I went to college. There are literal news outlets. There's a whole hierarchy. We had this whole hierarchy thing of news outlets that we watch on the TV, that we used to watch and depend on for real news. Trusted them. There are news outlets that you cannot use. Search it up. There are news outlets in college you cannot use for as a credible source in your reading and your writing, because they genuinely are biased. They don't give correct news, and they're not something that can be used as a source of real knowledge. Search it up. It's true. I cannot stress this enough. We need to do our own research. There's no reason why and it's funny because now they flood us with a bunch of TikToks, ChatGPT. Everything is at our fingertips, so we don't feel the need to dig deeper into certain things, and to where I'm not a victim of this, because I know that there's other sources that I could use. But again, even ChatGPT could literally be lying to us right now, and we wouldn't know, because at the end of the day, when we think of something, we go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT has been reliable for a long time, since 2022, since when it came out. I think 2022 came out. It's been reliable for a long time. They could switch it up at any moment, and we could be fed a bunch of propaganda, and we would not know, because we've created this emotional connection with ChatGPT to where we trust it for every single piece of knowledge. We don't read books no more. We don't go online to actually research anymore, and we do not do the research that we're supposed to do. Now, I personally don't do crazy amounts of research. I do try to look at different sources for a lot of things. Like, I do look at many different sources to see if I'm getting the same story all around. However, I don't even believe we need to do all of this crazy, crazy, crazy research. I believe, though, the fact of knowing and understanding that we could be lied to at any moment is the thing we need to focus on. It doesn't do us any justice of just continuously researching, because again, an amount, like, you can know a million things and get so overwhelmed that you turn around and start to feel like, this is a study too, you start to feel like you can't do anything about all this knowledge that you know, and you start to feel like an ant in this big world, which is true. Like, we are all ants, we are all ants. However, educate yourself, actually look through sources. Don't just take things for face value. Anything I take from ChatGPT, I run it through my own internal system of, do I believe this is true? Is this helping me in the moment? And most things I do for ChatGPT are work based. Like, it's really for my business and different things like that. It's not really for like impersonal stuff. It used to be a lot about personal stuff, maybe medical stuff. But when it comes to something I'm seeing on TikTok or something, I really try to understand that even if I'm taking stuff at face value, because I don't really care to go look into it and do all this extra research, I'm understanding that I could be being lied to in this moment. I think that that's the first step. As a collective, that is the first step. We need to understand you could be being lied to at any moment, including ChatGPT, especially ChatGPT. Do you understand how many people use ChatGPT per day? Propaganda could spread through ChatGPT like wildfire, and we wouldn't know. Just saying. I don't believe we should really be scared of certain things, like scared of false information, scared of this, scared of that, like that. Again, all of that stuff distracts from you fully understanding that yes, there can be false information out there. There can be sources that you trusted and it's not trustworthy. All of these things are just lessons. Like, I feel like people take too much account into like, oh my gosh, like, I've been lied to. I've been it's not really it's not that serious if you really think about it on a grander scale. These are just things put in our face to teach us lessons. Everything that's happening with the files, all of this stuff, are simply lessons. Now, these things are fucked up. You can't deny it. They're all things that I'm telling you, to the public eye, it's like, oh my gosh, like all of this stuff happened. What do we do? How can we fix it? In reality, it's a lesson for the future, especially with AI being out, especially with all of these things that we can easily be like, oh my gosh, that was AI, that's not true, or this was this, or this was that. These are just lessons in understanding your sources and who to trust. That's it. If you really take it down, break it down, it's just something to where you need to understand that everybody you see, every figure you see, every person that you may have had faith in may not be someone that you should have had faith in. And that doesn't mean you're stupid. That doesn't mean you're dumb. It doesn't mean that your intuition was wrong. Sometimes your intuition guides you to a lesson. Most times it's guiding you to a lesson. And all of these things releasing and all of these things being put in our faces, and we're realizing, oh my gosh, they've been putting it in our faces, is simply a lesson. Like, damn, now we look out for these signs. Now we look out for these things. You don't have to. What they want is to overwhelm us into fear. But in reality, actually, I'm not gonna say that's what they want, because at the end of the day, we don't know what they want. We don't. What we do is we take things, and because humans don't like open loops, we close them with assumptions. We don't know what they want by showing us this stuff. What if they're showing us this, right, to show us, look how naive you are? And it's at the end of the day, all this stuff helps us because it just proves to us who we were and who we are and how we've evolved as people. Even if we're not perfect, we have evolved because now we're actually looking at signs and we're looking at things that we used to look over. We all need to take these things as a positive, even though what we're seeing is negative, because that's what all negatives equals positive, and all positive equals negatives. You can't have a negative without a positive, and that's what we learned in chemistry. I know you learned that. Oh wait, not a lot of people took chemistry, but every action has an equal and equal reaction. So it's like we're getting all this information, we're getting all this stuff. It doesn't have to be negative, even though the things are true. They are negative. You can't deny it, but the lesson doesn't have to always be negative. I honestly feel like a lot of lessons that we learn are truly positive for our evolution. And we always try to think like, oh my gosh, like they're out for us, they're out to get us. Honestly, if you just switch your thinking and think like all of this is happening for a reason and for our benefit, you will start to see things and be able to conceptualize them and condense them easily, to where even if you do have a um false stories, false things put in your face, you're able to take them, condense them, and be like, okay, cool, what do I learn from this? And I feel like that's really the biggest lesson of 2026. What did we learn from our lives? What did we learn up until this point? What have we learned? But everybody's so focused on stuff that we cannot change. We boycott these companies, we do these things. They will just make and figure, they have the technology, the manpower, and the people to figure out different ways to still control us. So what have we learned? What do we learn from this? Instead of what are they trying to do to us?